All eyes are on Georgia as we await the jury's decision in the trial of the three white men who were charged and on trial for the lynching of Ahmaud Arbery. Today, the prosecution had their rebuttal, and this is what took place in court.
All right, so that brings us to self-defense. All right, I'm just going to go over this quickly. I want you to know what the basics are, the essentials, okay? Because self-defense really applies to the aggravated assault with a shotgun, okay, and the murder charges. So what have we got? One can use lethal force in self-defense, but only under certain circumstances. You can't claim self-defense if you are the unjustified initial aggressor, meaning if you started it. Who started this? It wasn't Ahmaud Arbery. If you're committing a felony against that person, once again, we're back to our convenience store armed robber. He doesn't get to defend himself against the clerk he's robbing. He doesn't get to claim self-defense. He's committing a felony. In this case, they committed 4 different felonies, including the aggravated assault with a shotgun. They started it. They do not get to claim self-defense. And then, of course, provocation. You can't force someone to defend themselves against you, so you get to claim self-defense. This isn't the Wild West. No. So there's 3 instances where the defendants don't get to claim self-defense, and they committed all of them. So once again, initially provokes the use of force against himself with the intent to use such force as an excuse. No Wild West. This is the important one. Cannot commit aggravated assault with a shotgun, with trucks, false imprisonment, or criminal attempt at false imprisonment. Any of those. Not justified in using force. If you're doing any of those things, they were doing all 4 of them. And you're not justified in using force if that person was the unjustified aggressor. You can't start it and claim self-defense. And they started this with their driveway decisions. So here's some main concepts. The defendants had to believe the deadly force was necessary. There were no other alternatives. Pointing a shotgun at somebody. There were a whole bunch of other alternatives to that. That belief must be reasonable. And once again, that's reasonable for everybody. That reasonableness applies to you. That reasonableness, there's no special exception for previous training in the Coast Guard or law enforcement. The reasonableness standard in Georgia applies to everyone equally. The danger to yourself has to be imminent, meaning I am about to get killed. Not some guy I've been chasing for 5 minutes is running at me.
Joining us right now is Lee Merritt. He is one of the family attorneys for the Arbery family. Now, Lee, we saw how shameful yesterday was, where you had one of the attorneys make such a heinous comment about the toenails of Ahmaud Arbery that it led Ahmaud Arbery's mother to flee the courtroom. She was so angry and upset. Give us a sense again where we are, in terms of how that family feels about what they have had to listen to from the defense attorneys.
We're used as a community of Black folks, as civil rights attorneys, we're used to defense attorneys villainizing the victim. It's become sort of par for the course from the American jurisprudence. But even with that in mind, what these attorneys have been doing during the course of this trial is unique. Wanda Cooper Jones herself, the grieving mother of Ahmaud Arbery, sat in the back of the classroom and was of the courtroom, and was herself the subject of at least half a dozen different motions about what she was wearing, about sounds that she might make during really emotional parts of the testimony, about people that she brought into the courtroom with her. And then, yesterday during the closing arguments, they drove it all home with personal attacks against Ahmaud, not even racist attacks or purely racist attacks, maybe certainly motivated by racism, but descriptions of his fingernails being dirty, as if he was an animal or some sort of beast that they were describing. It's really been, even for me, and I see it really bad behavior by the defense counsel.
Of course, the prosecution had a chance to do their rebuttal, and they were quite methodical in destroying the self-defense argument, saying you can't start something and then yell, "Oh, self-defense."
Yeah. No, I think that to match the defense's sort of wild defenses and throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it, the prosecution was methodical, as you pointed out, and said that what they're really claiming when it's said and done is citizens arrest and self-defense. The law doesn't allow them to get citizens arrests because they didn't see a crime taking place or there was no crime in their immediate knowledge. And they don't get self-defense when they're the initial aggressors. You can't start a fight and then say the person who was defending themselves against you caused you to have to fear for your life and have to defend yourself. That's not how the law works.
So what time did the jury break today, or have they broken, and when will they resume tomorrow?
Around 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have not received notice that they have broken for the day. And so I assume they are still in deliberations.
So they've been deliberating now a little more than 6 hours.
That's correct.
Okay, got it. Well, it certainly has been a very difficult time to listen for the family, to listen to what, how they have described Ahmaud Arbery somehow as he was this thug who grew up in an awful family and made these awful choices, when the only people who really made the awful choices are the three white men who chose to hunt him down. That's Greg and Travis McMichael, as well as William Roddie Bryan.
Yeah, Wanda is spending this time preparing her victim impact statement, which she's getting a chance to do after these men are convicted. So we're accepting that in advance, and she's really looking forward to that. So a lot of the things that you just pointed out about the personal attacks on her son, the attacks on his upbringing, she's looking forward to responding to in the victim impact statement.
All right, then. Lee Merritt, we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin unfiltered video in just one moment.
Once upon a time, there lived a princess with really long hair who was waiting for a prince to come save her. But really, who has time for that?
Let's go. Feeling myself. I'm feeling
She ordered herself a ladder with Prime one-day delivery, and she was out of there.
I want some hood girls looking back at it and a good girl in my tax bracket.
Now, her hairdressing empire is killing it. And the prince? Well, who cares? Prime changes everything.
But I'm back at it and I'm feeling
this weekend for the Bayou Classic, broadcasting live in partnership with Coca-Cola Friday and Saturday. You do not want to miss it. So Black Star Network will be on the scene. That's right, covering the coaches' luncheon on Friday. We'll be broadcasting Friday night. Then, of course, we'll be broadcasting from the Fan Zone. There's a parade Saturday morning, broadcasting that, plus from the Fan Zone. In addition, we'll be broadcasting the halftime. That's right, y'all. Don't worry about the rest of these folk. Don't worry about it. NBC doesn't show it. We'll be showing you the halftime show right here on the Black Star Network.